Sadashiva Samarambam Shankaracharya Madhyamam Asmadacharya Paryantam Vande Guru Paramparam Ishwaro Guratpeti Murti Veda Vibhagine Vyomavad Vyapta Dehaya Dakshinamurtaye Namaha Sarva Vedanta Siddhanta Gocharam Tamagocharam Govindam Paramanandam Sadgurum Pranatosmyaham Om. Okay, welcome. Last week we did the stone people, plant people, people, God people, and then we had Popeye at the end, which is a self person. I am what I am, right? And I got scolded by one of you real sharp people who pointed out that there's got to be an upside for all those people. And what would that upside be from all those different kinds of people? Now, obviously, with Popeye, there's no upside and no downside because there's no duality there because he just is what he is. So he has no. Well, actually, he did in the original thing. I'm Popeye the Sailor Man. I drink spinach from a can. What is it? I forget anyway. So there we understood that I am what I am means I'm a doer, and that the doer was actually the not self and not the self. But anyway, so next week I'll if I have time. I may not have time because no, I won't have time next week, will I? No, I won't have time. So next week is the no-go. We're doing a seminar here, aren't we?
Yeah.
And I could, but I won't. I'll be tired. We've got 20 people coming, and so next week we're going to skip it. And now we'll have plenty of time to do a little talk on the upside of the people idea, but whatever kind. It's a psychological tool. It's important to understand yourself as a person, what your strengths are, what your weaknesses are, and so forth. So we'll do that. So anyway, the person who scolded me, if they're listening today, I'm sure they are. I'll correct my wicked ways. Anyway, so today we got an email. The email came in actually last week, and he said, "Dear Ramji," and this is going to lead us into the Mundaka.
Can I fix it? It's not working for everybody.
What?
It is. They can't see it. It's just weird.
They can't see it?
I mean, they can see it, but it's all messed up.
Well,
I don't know what the problem is.
well, if they can't, it doesn't matter if you can't see it.
No, it's okay. Why does that make a difference?
Because actually, basically, if you can't see it, it's fine. Just listen to it. In fact, sometimes reading it does.
No, it's okay.
Huh?
I don't know why.
Yeah, it's okay till it isn't.
Yeah, exactly. It's gonna not be, but right now it is.
No.
That's all we care about.
Turn it this way.
Okay, there you go.
Okay.
It's good now. It's good.
Okay, yeah. It's probably something I do here. This is a kind of difficult situation. Anyway, dear Ramji, I am currently listening to your Gita teachings, as well as going through Swami Dayananda's Gita commentary on chapter 16 and beyond, as you suggested. Yes, it was a suggestion I gave this person. Chapter 16 is a real important chapter because psychologically and spiritually, because it points out that there are only two personality types. Now, in astrology, you have 12, I guess, and then you have multiplied by the number, the houses, the 12 houses, and the aspects in the houses. So you can get a fairly complex view of human beings and human nature from astrology, from Enneagram. Enneagram has, um, I forget what they call them, but it doesn't matter. But there you can drill down and get more personality types. Um, but the Vedanta is unique in this. And this is why, just going to a psychologist is not necessarily going to purify you much. Whereas if you're qualified for Vedanta, or if freedom's your goal, freedom from, the person that you think you are is your goal, then our psychology is perfect. And our psychology is that there are only two types. Even though there's three gunas, there's two types. Uh, we combine the rajas and the tamasic types, those two energies, put them together in one. Because wherever you have rajas, you have a lot of tamas. Wherever you have tamas, you have a lot of rajas. So that'll account for the projection and the denial, and the concealing and the um, projecting powers of ignorance or Maya. And the other type is the sattvic type, predominantly sattvic type. They're the revealing power. Sattva was the revealing power. So you have people who, when they're predominantly sattvic, they're more or less self-aware all the time. They follow Dharma implicitly. They love order, beauty, and so forth. All the characteristics that are built into the sattva guna are dominant in their personalities. Whereas where you have a rajasic and tamasic predominance in a person's character, you'll have a lot of projections going on and a lot of denials. That's more or less a regular person of samsara, and everybody's got that regular person or samsara in them. So and this person has been doing her karma yoga, and I thought she was ready to consider the last part. The verses beyond 16 are all about self-actualization, about how to implement self-knowledge, and about what Ishwar's nature is, and so forth and so on. But her question is now the question is this: could you please clarify the role of adharma and its subsequent sufferings in light of guiding jivas back to the self? So the question then is, what's the value of bad karma or adharma? What's the value? Because nobody wants bad karma, obviously. You don't ask for bad karma, you get bad karma. Now, is there something to be gained by bad karma, by receiving bad karma? Is it something I can learn from it? Or should I just go for sattva, hell for leather, and try to avoid as much bad karma as possible? And I think you probably, most of you probably understand that um, that the former idea, which is what is there's something to learn there, is the best idea. It's more efficient, and it'll make you grow a lot better, a lot faster, and more, and more straight and more straight way. It'll straighten you out. So we're going to see how that works. And then she says, so she's got a pretty good idea about this, but there's a few little things that need to be sorted. There's a fine tuning, which is, a nididhyasana job. And most of the swamis don't do nididhyasana for people. In our tradition, they're sannyasis. They don't want the trouble. They don't want all the psychological aggravation, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So they'll just say, meditate on the self or do your karma yoga, and that'll be about it. Whereas, I don't know, I like people and I like listening to their stories, and I don't mind giving advice, even though not many people take it. So it doesn't matter. I'm indifferent to whether the results of the action. So it works pretty good. Anyway, so in one of your talks, you said, a dharma is beautifully equilibrating. When we consider that at the internal subtle body level through Vedanta, we transcend what shows up in the mind, regardless of what may be labeled dharmic or adharmic, as it boils down to temporary appearances in me awareness. Is it the case then that your sentence, adharma is beautifully equilibrating, applies more clearly in the outpicturing experiences of the waking state world? It's a kind of, it's a reasonable doubt, which is to say that worldly experiences, being the outpicturing of vasanas that are a mixture of sattva, rajas, and tamas, will inevitably always have dharma and adharma equilibrating each other, swinging from one side to the other as the equilibration takes place, as opposed to becoming indefinitely more and more sattvic. Well, yeah, it is. And James said, yes, and we could just stop the whole satsang there, but James, being blessed or cursed by the gift of gab, and needing to needing to talk with my mortals and immortals on Sunday, I needed to pontificate on this topic. And so this is what James said. Let's recall the Bhagavad Gita. Obviously, this is all, this is all scriptural based. I'm just referring now to what the Gita says. And the Gita, as most of you should know, is the essence of the Upanishad. It's an attempt by the seer, the rishi, to roll all the different Upanishads together in one place and tie all of the teachings together, and it does it beautifully. It's beautifully organized. It's an incredible work of art and science that has never been done again, will never be done again. It's the definitive text on Vedanta. Let's recall the Bhagavad Gita, which unfolds the science of existence shining as consciousness. Reality has forced Arjuna to understand Dharma and Adharma. Arjuna's really been troubled by this because he was cheated. He entered into a game where the rules were well known. He trusted the people. It was actually his cousin. He trusted his cousin, who oh, there we go. That's wrong, huh?
No, it's okay, actually.
Is
That's
it?
what I was gonna, but it's okay.
There we go. he trusted there. I'll get this back in here.
Either way,
Okay.
It's fine.
Either way, it's
Yeah,
fine.
it's working right now.
Okay,
I don't
cool.
know what happens.
Reality has forced Arjuna to understand Dharma and Adharma. The macrocosmic forces that are creating everything that is happening have thrust Arjuna into that uncomfortable situation according to his nature. And what is his nature? He is the top warrior in the kingdom. And why? Because reality needs to rectify all of the imbalances taking place in the world so individuals can work out their karmas. If dharma and adharma is disturbed, people can't decide what to do. They can't work out their karmas. That's what we got now. The Mr. Trump has created so much uncertainty that people just can't, can't spend their money. They can't invest in things. They can't plan their lives. They're afraid of getting fired. There's got a new technology coming in, the AI and so forth and so on. So the Dharma field is just a big mishmash, a big mash. And we know that this mishmash of events and so forth and so on is going to be sorted, and it will be sorted favorably. But it takes a while. Right now, the pendulum is swinging further over to one side, and it's going to have to swing back, and it will gradually go back and back. And just like what is it? Oh, a plumb bob.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know if you know, plumb bob is a heavy weight on a string, and you start here and it goes back and forth, back and forth, or a yo-yo on a string. So, in fact, right down to the pico level of experience. In other words, pico level means the finest level of experience, where you can't tell if the apparent reality is a wave or a particle. It's indeterminate. Sometimes it looks like a wave, sometimes it looks like a particle. You don't know. Um, right down to the pico level experience, Ishvara, which is the self operating objects of experience, uh, meaning what? Is constantly equilibrating events. So if we got a problem now, the Dharma Raja, the self, the king of Dharma, which is the self, is already on it. So that's why we don't worry about this sort of stuff. All this stuff you read in the newspapers is just entertainment for us because we know what is actually is happening now and what's going to happen. And so, in fact, the Upanishad is going to explain that, how it is that we relax and we can tell you what will happen because we understand this mechanism. Anyway, this Upanishad is going to tell you that. I think I'm going to have to do another. I think I'm going to have to do another teaching in 2 weeks on this Upanishad because as I've been going through it, I've been actually quite busy doing other things this week. And when I got back to this in the last couple of days, I realized I think that we can't wrap it up today. So we'll have another one because there's really a lot of important information that you need. And anyway, so the system's always balancing itself, and it has to do that because why? Because reality is non-dual. In other words, there's nothing's out of balance anyway. So it's already equilibrated. It just doesn't look like it's equilibrated. It looks like we're way over to the one side. These are all these politicos, the liberals on one side and the conservatives on the other. And they're so, upset by the swing, depending upon which way it's swinging, that they can't relax. They always have, they're anxious. You can just see the anxiety, and you can see how they're trying to influence the narrative, whereas the narrative is non-influenceable, really. It's going to do what it's going to do. It looks like you have, yeah, impact, but in reality, you don't really have impact because it's all a dream. Anyway, so what? So when things go too far to one side, the other side comes up and neutralizes it. And everything goes back to the center, meaning that it is always in balance, appearances to the contrary notwithstanding. Everything seems to be moving away from the core, but in the seeming reality is always being pulled back to the center. So when you know that, you're relaxed. You're not fooled by appearances. And then it becomes a funny game. And these big forces brought, now back to the battlefield of Arjuna, and these big forces brought all the good and bad people on both sides together to fight it out. There's bad people on the good side and good people on the bad side. Right? So it's all mixed up. It's a mess. It looks like it's a war between good and evil, but when you get drilled down to the microcosmic level, to the individual level, it's not clear what's actually happening there. It seems incredibly unfair. It seems incredibly, unjust that, good people should suffer and bad people should prevail. Sometimes you see that. You see good people suffering and bad people prevailing, and you think, oh my God must be, a pervert. How could it be? Right? But even a person that's suffering is prevailing, and even a prevailer is suffering. So uh, it's a more subtle picture that we're talking about here. We're asking to you to like assume a deeper vision on this thing. And so whatever you got, it's a crapshoot. Well, we don't know how it's going to come out, except for one thing: awareness in the role of an avatar, Krishna. Now, this way introduce the avatar concept, is on one side guiding Arjuna's chariot at Arjuna's request. Most conflicts, wars, go on more or less forever. These are the forever wars you read about in the media all the time. There's all people are against forever wars. Well, it's good to be against forever wars, but forever wars mean there are forever wars. and so unless you have some appreciation of that fact, and you want to like remove the forever from the war, you're going to be a frustrated person. If your happiness depends upon whether the world, it gets rid of all the bad guys and keeps only the good guys, you're going to be a suffering person. But but people that think in dualistic terms don't think deeply. I remember when we were talking about when there was a big argument about vegetarianism and veganism, and we read on the website on the web, several people felt that the way to solve the problem in Africa, anyway, was to build a fence right down the middle of Africa and put all the carnivores on one side and all the ungulates on the other. Ungulates means, cattle and hoofed creatures. They're prey. They put the prey on one side and put the predators on the other. And people are actually serious about that. They want to get financing and get permission to draw a line right down the middle. And so when you got that kind of dualistic, when you're really, really obsessed with one particular point of view, you're not doing yourself a favor. So you need to be aware of your obsessions and and not that you can get rid of your obsessions, but become obsessed with the right thing, which is the pursuit of truth. That's what this Upanishad is talking about. But remember now, we know it's gonna turn out how this thing's gonna turn out. Why? Because Krishna is on one side. Krishna is on one side, then the scales of Dharma and our Dharma are going to lean to the Dharma side. It's just like putting your fingers on the scale. You see these pictures of these guys in the old days where they had a scale, a thing, and you get weighing out stuff, and you were watching so much the needle on there that you didn't realize the guy who owned the scale had his thumb on it and was just holding it down a little bit so he could get a few extra bucks. Uh, you know, uh, Krishna, why is that? Why is Krishna leaning in other words, influencing the scales of justice or dharma or right and wrong? Because it's the love principle, the non-dual principle. That's a principle that trumps everything. When you love and are in love with the right thing, uh, you're a winner, no matter what your circumstances or situation are or situation is. But what? But it's not easy to ignore. It's not easy. Oh yes, it's not easy to do this. Why? Because the ignorance-inspired parts of your mind are fighting against the non-dual parts and what does non-dual say? That it's all in you. So when you're ignorance-inspired, you think that the objects are the problem. The good guys are in you and the bad guys are in you. When you project, then it's easy to ignore the bad guy in you and point to the bad guy outside. And it's easy to ignore the good guy in the outside. So on. So the good guys what are the good guys? That's that voice in you that's saying, stop worrying. It's okay. Everything's fine. You're okay. And the bad guys in you worry like crazy, wanting what they want, which is always money, sex, power, recognition, virtue, etc. And this war between those two parts of ourselves is going on in all of us all the time. That's what the Gita says. And so how do we resolve that? The only way, that's the answer, the only way is to understand yourself as an unborn, whole, and complete entity. Because there's nothing, why would you do that? Because there's nothing you can do about it. Except that. The setup's already there. The matrix is already there. It's got to do do its matrix job. Right? You can understand how it works and take a different tack if you understand how it works, but it's not going to be different because you want it to be different. You try to change the world, keeping in mind that the you that wants things to be different is in the world. And it changes back because it wasn't real in the first place. You want the world to change, but you don't want you to change, but you're in the world. And the world is changing, so you're changing. What can you do? Right? You're changing from a dharmic person with dharmic thoughts to an adharmic person with adharmic thoughts. So those things are going on in your mind. Giving up the doer and to change this idea that things should be different is a hard truth to accept. Not the bad guy, and you know, here the reason it's one reason it's hard is the bad guy's a reasonable voice, given the idea that what? Reality is a threat. Now, how many people think that reality is benign? Huh?
Not many.
Not many. Most everybody thinks it's a threat. Why are the insurance companies the top dogs always in every age? Because they know it's benign. They insure on the basis of what? That things do go wrong, but overall, in terms of the big picture, things basically go right. I was thinking about this Palestinian and or even Iran or any place. We were talking about this morning at breakfast about this problem, and you know, I saw a picture on the internet on my feed, and it showed a picture of
Gaza City.
huh?
Gaza City.
Gaza City, yes, Gaza City in no, what is it? Gaza.
Gaza.
In Gaza, Gaza City in Gaza. You know, after a while, you as old as I am, it all looks the same every time. It's always the same, and it's always the same. You see an earthquake in Japan, and everybody goes, oh my God, you know, and you see one street that's just destroyed, but when you get up to the what are the drone level and look down on it, you can't see, everything looks good. There's just one little crooked thing and a few little rubbles, you know, and a little line down there in one tiny little corner or of the city. So most people think that even though it's true that fly in an airplane and look down on the earth. Do you see any conflict? You look out the window, the earth is so beautiful. And the little houses and little cities and all that are all clustered in the right little places. And at night you see the lights, you know, and how the little lights are all connected one to another. And there's no, you know, there's no disorder there. You know, within that context, the guy runs off the road and ruins his car or whatever it is, or a man shoots his wife or whatever. But basically it's all good. So anyway, because people think the reality is not benign, the bad guy is a reasonable voice to listen to, given the idea that reality is a threat. Whole societies believe that we're here to make a difference, which means virtually nobody is satisfied with the way things are. Yes, yes, we would like it all to be beautiful, dancing with the fairies and all, right? But that's not the fact. When you accept reality the way it is, you become peaceful, and then you do make a difference as everything around you absorbs the peaceful atmosphere. But that's why people are going to go to Ramana Ashram. There's a peaceful atmosphere around Ramana. And you just got in there, it was osmosis, and Ramana's peace and joy and solidity and authenticity just leaks out, and people started feeling okay. And they got the idea that you didn't need any knowledge to get there. You could just sit in silence all day long and be happy, right? But what? But as long as you're dissatisfied, no way. You what? You contribute to the problem. Your dissatisfaction, you're adding dissatisfaction to the society. So we have to see what? That it's all a setup and that it's all good. It's all serving a higher purpose here. Accept it as it is. assume that reality is benign and there are no worries. Okay, now we're back to Mundaka now. Munda's going to say the same thing, obviously, but it's going to say it in a more elegant way than I've said it. And so we're going to do Mundaka part 2. Mundaka means what? A shaving. It means a razor. And it's a shaving. And so it's what you're getting rid of. You're getting rid of hair when you shave, right? So what are the hairs? Well, they're your thoughts and your ignorance and so forth and so on. And you should go, when I was in India, it only cost, I think, 25 cents to get a shave.
Yeah.
I used to go 3 or 4 times a week. Oh, nice warm towel. The guy loved me. Get a head massage.
And you burn.
Huh?
And when they twist your skin.
Oh yes, oh yeah. Yeah, stimulate the
good.
blood vessels. Yeah. Anyway, so this is now the first section of Mundaka we had last week and the week before. Got a lot of good feedback on that, and I love it. I just went through it and read it a few times this week, but I didn't change much of it because it was really good as it was. Now, the second Mundaka, this is what we're gonna get rid of the same stuff, but a little different. Here's the picture. Then this is the verse. The verse is written on the graphic. And the graphic says, in the verse, awareness is the only completely reliable support. It is your identity-less identity. Everything that lives, moves, breathes, and blinks is centered in it. That's the verse. See that lovely thing here, the lovely graphic? It's so beautiful, huh? This guy, that's you sitting there. You're staring at yourself. Staring at yourself means listening to these teachings. That's all it means. And everything else is what? Is doing its thing. The owl is sitting in the tree looking, listening. The eagle is flying up here on the right. There's a hummingbird over here on the right sitting on a thing. A porpoise is jumping out. A whale is swimming under the ocean there, under the water. A rabbit is there. What's that? A deer on one side, an elephant. So the planets are spinning up here in the top. It's all good. And that which is self-luminous, this is another verse, and dwells in the cave of the heart is the only completely reliable source. I want reliability. As far as my identity is concerned, I want reliability. If I'm functioning as one entity here, my actions and my thoughts will line up with that identity, and my whole life will move forward, and it will be a success. Because as long as your life is moving forward, you're in the flow, so they often say, and whatever little things come, just like water, it just flow around it. It's reliability or security we want, a security of a secure identity. Not like I'm a man, or am I a man, or am I a woman? Or am I an in-between? A tranny is a person who's in between. They're on a bus between two terminals. And they're always on a bus between two terminals. They're in transit, right? Now, that's not a secure identity to have. I'm not saying it's good or bad. in terms of your deeper need, which is, and you could never, if you're a man, you could never be completely secure. And if you're a woman, you could never be completely secure. And if you're what? If you're not clear about either one, you're never completely secure either. So whatever identity you take is going to have its downside. Everything that moves, breathes, and blinks is centered in the most adorable thing, being and non-being, and what is beyond being and non-being. And James had to say about this, oh, I already said it, so we don't have to. And what is that thing? It is the knower of being and non-being, a category-less category. Knowing it is perfect satisfaction. Now here we've got, now we're going to tell you how to know it and what to do. This is a beautiful, the Upanishad said this. And we wrote it with Dave's help. We were able to get it on the graphic itself, and we'll put that on the website, and you can get it. Make a donation and get it. And this is how you do it. Okay. Obviously, we're not going to tell you to say all this yakety yak if we don't give you some sort of practical way to achieve it. Right? The sacred syllable Om is the bow. There's a man on the left, Arjuna. Well, you could, yeah. And he's pulling back his bow and he's shooting an arrow at a target, which is the sun. See, in the center of the sun, there's a bullseye. So the sacred syllable Om, again, it's just a symbol. The sacred syllable Om is the bow. The apparent self is the arrow. Oh, apparent means reflected self, right? The supreme self is what? Is the goal. With a focused mind, sink the arrow deep in the target. If you recall my book on the Patanjali Yoga Sutras, that whole process is spoken about in there and reduced to a simple 10-minute or 5-minute meditation, which should take you right to the self, right? So let's repeat that. The sacred syllable Om is the bow. The apparent self, the arrow. The supreme self is the goal, that's the sun. With a focused mind, see how focused Arjuna is, the archer is? He's just like, there's nothing else there. He doesn't see anything else. He's like totally absorbed. Sink the arrow, that's called, sinking the arrow is getting absorbed. The state of nirvikalpa samadhi is complete absorption. And I'm not going to get into the details of that because you could read it in the book. What is the name of it?
No.
Power of No. The Power of No. Right. It's all explained there in excruciating detail, so you can't miss it. That's a very, very advanced and sophisticated book, The Power of No. Just like this Upanishad is a very sophisticated Upanishad. We don't, in Vedanta, you don't teach the Upanishads to beginners. In fact, it's going to tell you at the bottom not to teach it to beginners. There's a verse in here that says, don't teach this to people who, it'll explain it. So why? That's why we teach all of the supporting literature, that's called what, prakarana texts, or the workbooks. There you get familiar with how your mind and body works and what the world is, and so forth and so on. Get your karma yoga going, start your meditation, and so forth and so on. And then you're capable of understanding what these Upanishads are talking about. These Upanishads are the source texts. Anyway, all the worlds are situated in radiant Brahman, existence shining as consciousness, which is, I love this verse. I couldn't get ChatGTP to understand what I was to illustrate what I was um, this verse was talking about. And you'll see why. The verse says existence, meaning yourself, this is Chinese concept, means yourself. You are what? Smaller than the smallest and bigger than the biggest. Huh?
Hmm.
Huh? Wait, I guess I put a microbe there on one side, and what would be the biggest? The whole cosmos is the
problem is
biggest.
you couldn't see either.
Huh?
Neither are visible.
And,
So
and neither are visible,
so
so
that's why you couldn't do it.
yeah, that's why you can't do it, right? So smaller than the smallest, bigger than the biggest. And now here's where you're going to get connected to it. It is the life force. It's that energy, that Shakti in you keeps you alive. It's the power of your speech and your mind. Only it is true and immortal. Strike only that, O dear seeker. Hit only that. Means what? Keep that arrow. What is the arrow? Huh? Your apparent self, your reflected self, that personal self that James or Sue or Mary or Jack or whatever you call yourself, or you were given, whatever name you were given. Uh, and what is that? Strike only send that with your attention only to what? I am Om, awareness. Right? Strike only that, dear seeker. Here's the next one. I love this one. Let's look at this one. Isn't that beautiful? Huh? Wow. Huh? Yeah, and here's the verse. I didn't put the verse on these. They were the graphics were so beautiful and so inspiring to me. In any case, that I live in this world. It's a magical world. I'm not, I'm good at operating in the daily world, but I don't want to. You know, I really don't. I like my fantasy world, which, right? Yes, I got a couple of artists here, and they're nodding. Yeah,
I'll paint my own, thanks.
because these are fantasies that are real. These are fantasies that are not fantasies. And what does the verse say? See that beautiful woman? She's going. I'm trying I try to alternate the seeker between women and men so that you don't think, I'm biased in one way or the other. And when you know who you are, you're not biased. You have no gender bias. It's totally irrelevant. You just see people, and you see awareness shining through this reflected in the energy or in that person, whatever it is. That's what it means by the pranas or the energy system. Trump sees that. He's always talking about the energy. Everybody sees it. It's not anything that nobody doesn't see. It's just that people don't know what it means when they see it. And other people don't know who haven't seen what they see. They don't know what that person's talking about. So they'll have issues with it, or they'll think the person's crazy or not. Trump's not crazy. He's just Trump. He's just working out his vasanas. That's all it is. You know. Now he's getting an opportunity to deal with the karma he created the first time around. Because, what goes around comes around. Anyway, in it, now listen to this beautiful verse. In it means in yourself are woven the heavens, the earth, and the space between, not to mention the mind and all life forces, prana, apana, all these different forces that you have inside yourself. Give up talk of all otherness. Know that oneself alone. This is the bridge to immortality. So you want to get there. What do? Stop, right? Stop reinforcing dualistic thinking. That's what it says here. Give up talk of all otherness. Know that one, and what? Focus only on I am awareness. And that, how hard is that? Well, it may be hard, but it's simple. It's hard because, we're oriented toward, thinking of ourselves as small. The next Mundaka 2:6. The numbers are the verses in the second Mundaka. Now listen to this. I got a great. This is a great graphic too. Where the channels meet, like the spokes in the hub of a wheel, there the self moves within. It's not anywhere else. It's within yourself, where all that energy is coming from. If you focus, if you just trace down to it through any one of these avenues, you see, on the outside is all these different pictures. You'll see of different experiences. All right. Where the channels meet like the spokes of the hub of a wheel, it's in the center. There the self moves within, taking many forms. Meditate on the self as Om. The story on Om is that supposedly it's A-O-A-U-M. So it's pronounced Om, actually, not Om. And that why? Because those sounds, those vibrations summarize all of the harmonious sounds in that the human voice is capable of making. They avoid cacophonous sounds. Now you want a harmonious. You don't want a cacophonous sound. You don't want a jangly, awful sound because what? It doesn't. It jangles you. If you hear a beautiful sound or beautiful music, it composes you. This is so simple, man. It says, meditate on the self as where the channels meet, like spokes in the hub of a wheel, there the self moves within, taking many forms. Meditate on the self as Om. May you cross safely beyond the darkness to the other shore. Next, the all-knowing, all-understanding self, whose glory fills the world, I got a mistake here, resides in the divine city of Brahman, in the space of the heart. And I ran out of AI time here, and I couldn't go on. So I'll be do the graphics, and I'll make commentaries on the rest of it from here on. Having said that, I'll read the rest of it and make some little commentaries right now. Verse 228. 2:28. Made of mind, the leader of the life forces and the body, it is oh, now this is a big one. Somebody had this realization, they finally figured this out, and this is a tricky one. We've got it down, and so Sundri particularly has got it down. Somebody wrote me yesterday about the food sheath, and about Sundri's book on the body, because the body is nothing but food. The body's made of food. So what does it say here? This is where this came from. Her book, right? Made of mind, the leader of the life forces and the body. So mind, the leader of life force is what is the emotions, the manas, and the physical body. It is established in food, seated in the heart. By knowledge, the wise see it as immortal, self-shining bliss. Now, I want to eat, the Gita gets more into the food thing as in the last part of the Gita. That's why I suggested that this person uh, uh, start to study the uh, final 6 chapters of the Bhagavad Gita. So food is super important. Now, I don't usually Vedanta people are not very um, good about food. They generally do not eat properly. They're generally don't have healthy bodies. And so they often have diseases, they're often sick quite often, and so forth and so on, because they don't eat properly. And eat properly means what? Right. Constantly balancing the mind, balancing the gunas. By what? How do you do that? By the food you eat. You can't separate food from anything in the system except the self. And the happiness that you're seeking is dependent upon the food you're eating. Now, I understand how silly that is. I mean, particularly for Americans, but not particularly for Americans, but particularly for Americans who took them 50 years to realize there was some sort of connection between what you eat and how you felt.
There's something wrong with Pop-Tarts?
Yeah, I've been drinking my beer and eating my Pop-Tarts for breakfast. Why do I feel like shit? That's not right. The last 20, 30 years, it's starting to slowly change. Now you got, wow, the stuff they've got on food is amazing. That's why I've often said, and some people look at me like I'm crazy, which is we're managing our molecules. Because everything goes down to the molecular level, doesn't it? And your body's supposed to break everything down to the molecular level so that what? It gets back into the earth and it doesn't stay in your body. Is that? Okay. Then you're what? And all those impurities will what? Will lighten your load, let's put it that way. I should explain to some of you the cleanse that I did on cleaning the post-putrefactive mucoid from my colon walls, but it's a little, well, graphic. So we'll exclude that talk for today and probably forevermore. Anyway, so when the mind, made of mind, the leader of the life forces of the body, it is established in food seated in the heart. By knowledge, the wise see it as immortal, self-shining bliss. Why do you eat? For the bliss. When you eat a good meal, how do you feel? Blissful. when, huh? Obviously. You see, and when they start serving you good food, do you notice how people stop talking?
Mhm.
Well, for a moment or two. Although in Landman, they don't start talking, do they? We've been watching Landman on great, incidentally, great film. Super film. Really a beautiful love story, really elegant, sophisticated idea and graphics.
Funny.
Funny. Oh, it's hysterically funny. The acting is really good. Filming is really good. And it's set in hell. It's set in samsara, in the Permian Basin and the oil culture. And you, huh? Texas. Yeah, in Texas. Anyway, verse 2 to 10. Now, this is the famous one too. These are going to be great, the great illustrations on this. In a pure and partless golden sheath lies existence shining as consciousness, the light of lights. That would be what? A sheath means what? An upadi. What's the upadi? Sattva guna. So when your mind is sattvic, that's when you what? It reflects awareness more or less as it is. This is why our whole thing about managing the guna is about managing for predominant sattva. That is what the knowers of the self know. Right? If you say, I know the self, but you don't manage your life for sattva, well, you don't know the self. That's all. There, the beautiful verse here. There the sun does not shine. And that's not referring to you know what. There the sun does not shine, nor the moon, nor the stars, or earthly lightnings. Lightning doesn't strike there. Then how do these, if that's true, then how do these earthly fires blaze? How do the fires that we have here on earth, how do they fire without that, without awareness? I shine, and the world shines after me. I am the light of lights. Third Mundaka. Now, this is where we started with that teaching, a few weeks ago. A couple of weeks, 2 or 3 weeks ago, I think. Two birds, close friends of the same species, sit on the same tree. One eats the sweet fruit, the other merely looks on. That's the Jivatman, that the Atman, the self in the body, and the Paramatman, who what? Is just purely a witness. That's the Sakshi, or the witness they're introducing here as the symbol, a metaphor. And then the commentary comes, explanation comes. On the tree of life, an individual sits, sunk in grief, confused and helpless. But when he or she sees and worships the self and realizes his or her greatness, he or she becomes free from sorrow. Instead of being sunk in grief, confused and helpless, we want to be sunk in what? Bliss. We want to sink the arrow of our minds in bliss. That bliss is always present because it is you. It's always present. So just go to where the bliss is. Right? That's all you need to do. Now, I say all, It's hard to do it when what? When you're driven by these desires for, love and various other things. Right? It's hard. It is. There's a pull. Or you're just enjoying. You remember the verse? You saw the verse of the guy, he's coming out of heaven and it say the pleasure seekers waste from enjoying and they lose their heaven. And the guy's trying to reach back and there's all these sensuous forces, sex and money and all that stuff are pulling him back. And he's reaching up and he remembers where he was. And he wants to go back there, but he can't because his vasanas are pulling him away. All right. When the seer sees, okay, next. 3:1-3. When the seer sees the golden self, and golden means what's always good or what's rich. Gold's a symbol for prosperity and security, right? When the seer sees the golden self and negates good and bad deeds, it experiences the pure bliss of non-duality. This is related to the good karmas and the bad karmas up above that the person asked about. This life force shines in all beings. Knowing this, a wise person is foremost among self-knowers. Why? Because there's people who know about the self. People say, well, I know the self. What's the self? Because it doesn't shine its consciousness. I know that. Well, okay, yeah, that you're a self-knower, but what? We're talking about a different self-knower, right? Because this person doesn't argue. What means there's no duality for that person. It argues not, is satisfied with what he or she has at any moment, any given moment, what he or she is or has at any given moment, and what? Now, what does he say? And remains dynamic or active. Now, because people have a doubt, then I don't have to do anything. So they get slothful. And they say, well, I know this, but what do they say? Well, they say, well, why aren't you doing anything? Oh, because I'm the self. Why would I? Well, why would I do anything? Well, what's going to happen? Then what? Things will do you. That's
Yeah.
Israel is going to have its revenge.
Yeah.
And what is the revenge? You'll just revert to what? The default. You'll just go, your vasanas will just come up and you'll grab on one of those. Let's try again. Maybe I had the wrong person, or the wrong whatever it was. Maybe I had the wrong goal. I was chasing this. Let's go chase that. Maybe it's shiny. It's pretty. I like it. Let's go for that. And so you start zigging and zagging around in the world looking for something unique and special and different, new, and so forth and so on. This self is attained through truth. Here it is. Remember the bull of Dharma?
Mm.
What were those things on its side? Go back and revisit that. Reread that. This is all going to be one big book, one big picture book. It's all you're going to need. It'll be like the Ramayana or the Mahabharata. It'll be graphics and text, and pretty soon we'll animate it as we get more money. By the way, keep donating. It seems like no real rich guy's gonna give us enough money to do this, so we'll just do it little by little. And I'm working on staying alive longer so I can continue to complete this project. So it'll be the new Purana. Anyway, how do you get there? Through what? Through truth austerity. Austerity means what? Renunciation, letting go of stuff. Less is more. The less things you have to do, the less stuff you have, the more what? The more peace you have. And you want peace. You don't want the agitation, attachment of having stuff, activities, doing lots of activities, and so forth. So the self is attained through truth, austerity, right knowledge, and what? Constant self-control. The reason you have to constantly control yourself because the vasanas are pushing you. They're extroverting you, and you got to pull the reins back. Those are the reins on the horses. And you'll see now Arjuna was clever. He gave Krishna the job. So Krishna is going to regulate the senses. Krishna is going to tell him what to do with his body while he works on what? Solving that conflict in his own mind, right? And fighting this Dharma battle with the bad guys. And constant self-control, pure, luminous, and full of light, it is seen within the body by those whose sense of limitation has been destroyed. And you destroy it what? Just by doing your sadhana. Truth, I love these verses. This is so powerful. I'm not going to read them in my God voice. I'll just read them in my normal voice. But next week I'll put on my God voice, and you get a special treat. Truth alone conquers, not untruth. By truth, the path of the gods is laid out, the path by which seers, their desires fulfilled, reach the highest treasure of the true. And so, Mike, I wrote a little commentary on that. I am what I want. If you can say, if somebody says to you, what do you want? And you say, I am what I want, then you got it. If you got it, you can't just say that if you haven't understood what it means to say, I am what I want, but I am bliss. And I want objects for the bliss that's in them. So why would I be chasing this or that or the other thing to get bliss? Well, why would I do that? There's no logic there, you see. One of my guys a long time ago, he was a little pesky guy. He was just the most irritating guy. I loved him a lot. But I asked him what he was doing. And he said, he said, well, I don't have any desires. I said, well, what about this and that and the other thing? Because all I ever heard from him was his desires. And so I said, well, what about this? So what are you doing there? And I listed the list of all the stuff that he was chasing in life, which was all the usual stuff. And you really don't need to make a list because everybody's only chasing the usual stuff. And so he said, oh, I was just playing in the Maya. I was just playing in the Maya. No, he was not playing in the Maya. He was playing in the Maya, all right, but what? He thought that what Maya was going to give him was going to solve a problem for him. And it didn't until something did. Because I say lately, I haven't spoken to the guy for 15 years or something. But I see lately he just gave up his whole spiritual identity, took off his whole thing, went back to his birth name. I thought, shit, oh dear, that's rare. I wish he'd done it when he knew me, because he was a real pain in a thorn in my side or a pain in my ass. But anyway, thank God, good for him. God bless him. So it just goes to show if you actually hear a little bit of this, it plants enough seeds so that eventually, no matter what your vasanas are, you will what? It will all come true for you. So don't give up. Just hang in there. No matter how hard it is, do not give up. Anyway. pure, luminous, and full of light. It is seen within the body. Obviously, if it pervades everything, so it's got to be without the body and within the body. So, you can look for it here in the body. It's fine. The body's the self, and the self pervades the body, so it's there. Just find it. Eat right, do your meditation, think clearly, do your austerities, do your karma yoga, etc., etc., etc. You'll find it. And the more intense you are with your pursuit of truth, that's called mumukshutvam. The more you want to be free, the more, squeaky wheel gets the grease, the more Ishwar is going to get behind your search for freedom and take you home. Truth alone conquers, not untruth. By truth, the path of the gods is laid out, the path by which seers, their desires fulfilled, reach the highest treasure of the true. Truth is vast, divine, and beyond thought. It's subtler than the subtlest, farther than the farthest, and yet it is seated nearby in the cave of the heart by those who look for it. This is another one. Beautiful, huh? It's subtler than the subtlest, nearer than the nearest, and farther from the farthest. But seated in the cave. Where is that? In the cave of the heart, huh? By those who look for it. In your ignorance, look for it. It's shining in that cave. Ignorance is dark, and in that darkness, there's a light shining. You won't see the darkness unless the light is shining. Don't expect the blankness to turn light. Just see the awareness that's illuminating the darkness. Go to a room, turn off every single light, seal yourself where there's absolutely no light coming in. And how will you see? You'll definitely see. You'll see darkness, but the light will become really, really clear to you. And that light has nothing to do with physical light. That's why he said no so much about for the lightning and the fires here on earth and those kind of fires. Never mind that kind of light. Now we're not talking physical light. We're talking what? Spiritual light, the light of myself. It cannot be seen by the eye, grasped by the hands or other senses. It cannot be spoken or gained by austerities, actions, or the renunciation of action. It says what? Oh, well, why are you telling me to do austerities and karma yoga then? Just to get your instrument prepared to understand what we're saying here. Only when meditating with the clear light of self-knowledge. How is it seen? Only when you're meditating with a clear light of self-knowledge, one sees one's partless self. Meditate doesn't necessarily mean sitting with your eyes closed. It means keeping the idea, I am awareness, when you're active and alert, and when your eyes are closed and you're sitting in meditation. Right? This subtle self, in which the life force is entered in 5 ways, eyes, ears, nose, tongue, skin, right? So on. In 5 ways, is to be known by what? By the mind. No, that's mind. No, I'm not doing that's mind. We don't learn by mind. Mind's the enemy. Let's get rid of the mind. What's wrong with you? Wrong. Sorry. Wrong. Sorry. This subtle self in which the life force is entered in 5 ways is what are those 5 ways? The jnana indriyas, the organs of knowledge, right? entered in 5 ways, it is to be known by the mind. The mind of living beings is interwoven with the life forces. When that mind is purified, this self reveals itself. This self reveals itself. Where was it purified? When the mind is separated from the life forces. Because the mind is a reflected awareness. The life forces belong to Ishvara. So does the reflected awareness, but what? But the love itself shines in that reflection purely. That's why. When you look in the mirror, you don't see yourself, but you don't see anybody else. Do you? Nobody else appears when you look in the mirror. You're seeing a reflection in the mirror, but what? You're not seeing anybody else. Then whatever world a person of pure mind contemplates. Now, this is really important. This is really interesting here. I mentioned it above. Whatever world a person of pure mind contemplates, and whatever he or she wishes for, he or she attains. Therefore, one who wants prosperity should honor the knower of the self. And what does James say? Why do you attain it? Because you are what you want. I mentioned that up above. Now it's how would you tend to read this if you didn't know the self, if you didn't know I'm the self? Whatever whatever world a person of pure mind contemplates, and whatever he wishes for, he obtains. It means what? You're going to get everything you want? I'm going to get I want a new I need a new car. My car's getting old and starting to break down, so I like a new car, but I'm not getting a new car. Huh? So is that what it means? I want six-pack abs. Fat chest.
Bad chance.
Fat chest.
No pun intended.
No pun intended.
Oh, God.
Yeah. So I do know that they must be wrong here. They say that's what I told you about this Hindu stuff. It's all fantasies, man. Give it up. No, I have to understand it properly. So, and if you wanted prosperity, which everybody wants, they want to be prosper. They want to prosper in peace and knowledge and happiness and love and so forth and so on. Therefore, one who wants prosperity should what? Honor the knower of the self. Means you should look for somebody who knows the self and what? And get to know him. That's all. Third Mundaka. He knows the highest, he knows they got a few little, yeah, I'm going to rework this a bit and fix up the punctuation and so on. He knows the highest abode where the whole universe shines purely, which is yourself. Those who worship the whole and complete person without desire cross beyond this, cross beyond the seed of rebirth. In other words, there's no reason to what? Revisit your desires. Once you've seen that those seeds for objects, whatever they produce is what? Is not, doesn't make you prosperous. It makes you attached and fearful and so forth and so on. Then what do? You just don't revisit those desires. I want the perfect man. I want the perfect woman. I want the perfect car. I want the perfect job. Pack it in. Give it up. Whoever thinks of desirable objects is born according to those desires. Oh, in other words, when you're thinking of a desirable object, you are what? that thought. You're turning yourself into an object of desire, but you can't be an object of desire. So how's that going to work for you? Remember the slippery slope teaching we did? I never got down to the bottom of the slippery slope because, well, it's such a depressing teaching. I thought, that is, no, that's honestly, that's not the only reason, but in fact, we'll tidy that up one fine day also. Whoever thinks of desirable objects is born according to those desires. In other words, you are just what you want. You are what you eat. You eat potatoes, you look like a potato. You eat ham smash burgers, you look like a smash burger. But for the one whose desires are completely fulfilled, whose self is content, all desires dissolve here and now. Why have same idea. This self is not, oh, what? See, he's going to get rid of the teaching now. We got to do our nididhyasana. You got to get rid of childhood stuff and teaching remnants. This self is not attained by teaching, nor by intellect. It just told me it needed to be known by my intellect, by my mind. Right? Now it's saying no. This self is not attained by teaching, nor by intellect, nor by much learning. People who love, oh, we got our Vedanta people. Oh my God, some of them just love Vedanta. And they just, oh, they're digging out. They know way more Vedanta than I do, and they just keep scouring around after one text after another, increasing their knowledge, because they really just like learning, which means they like being ignorant. And it is and you can satisfy yourself a few lifetimes by, right, being ignorant. Sounds terrible, but yeah. How do you get it? It is, now listen to this. This is so cool. Yeah, we'll get a whole commentary, and I'll try to get some graphics to bolster the commentary. It is attained by the one whom it chooses. Sundari says, a man chases a woman till, what was it?
Till she catches.
Till
him.
she catches it. That's it. A man chases a woman till she catches it. Huh? Huh? Yeah. Perfect, huh? My wife is way smarter than I am. Anyway, she's not my wife. Sorry, I said my wife. That was a mistake. The self is not, but the wise one is that the self is not obtained by one who is weak or by careless effort, nor by austerity without the right attitude. Oh, so austerity does work if you have the right attitude. Yes, it does. Careless efforts means what? No, lack of discipline. Right? Just doing this and that, putting forth the efforts, but doing it here and there, willy-nilly, right?
Ramji, I'm
Yeah.
wondering, if you could maybe quickly go back to 323, the one before, because
Yeah.
It said it is attained by the one whom it chooses.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Here it
To
is.
that person, the
I
self
forgot that
is-
last sentence.
I think that's an amazing part.
Okay, why do you think that's amazing? Sarah said this, and it is.
Because the self reveals its own form to the person rather than the other way around.
That's right.
Which is what we all think, is that we can do something or we can make it happen or whatever.
But the self is choosing you. That deep, huh?
Yeah.
That's why we say you guys are all blessed. Huh?
Yeah.
You're blessed. The self-light loves you. This is Jesus loves you. Jesus chooses you. Huh? Huh? You're chosen. This is why the Jews have so much trouble. They make a lot of yakety yak about why they're the chosen. You don't want to do that, but they're right. You know, those people that, you know, they're chosen by God. It's not an accident. You know, God, we're blessed. We're lucky. We're super lucky. Yeah, how did I miss that? I didn't because I got it as you.
Yeah, it came out.
Yeah, thank you for that. Uh, yeah. So and what? This weakness, you know, oh, I'm going to surrender. Do you say I can't do it? I'll just surrender. I'll just wait. I won't do anything. I'll just wait till God chooses me. Ah, you got to put forth the efforts. They tell you put forth the efforts, and God will choose you. But if you don't put forth the effort, God's going to say, "Oh, there you said this person's happy being a jerk." Well, why would I disturb their happiness and their jerkiness? Yeah. But the wise one who strives with these proper means enters his own home. There's a mistake there. Anyway, typo. Having come home, one, oh, see, says some of this needs a little bit of wise seers perfect themselves with self-knowledge. Oh, no, yeah, I shouldn't have that once. Having come home, wise backspace here. Wise seers perfect themselves with self-knowledge, free themselves from attachment to objects, and attain peace. Once they do that, they enter into everything, everywhere. So find it within, and what is that entering into everything, everywhere? That's the Ramana Maharshi idea. You just go sit there, or like if I walk on a bus or something, and even if it's a bunch of really, you know, lowlifes who are all stoned up, and if I sit on that bus for 20 minutes, which I have done a few times going from an airport to another, by the time I get there, the lowlifes who were on at the beginning are peaceful lowlifes when I get off, when I get down. It just gets in. I never said anything, or you know, I'm like kind of disgusted by those people and everything. But the Shanti that I am, right, leaks in. It's osmosis. It's an osmotic self. Those who have clearly understood the meaning of Vedanta through the yoga of renunciation, whose minds are pure, become fully immortal when time ends and are completely freed from all worlds. So does that mean when time ends, does that mean the pralaya? That just means when because if the universe it disappears after billions of years, then I've got to wait till then to become immortal. Is that what that means? No, it doesn't. I'm immortal right here now. Uh, Being immortal means that what? I understand myself as awareness, and time ends then. There's no time for me. That's all. Time does not exist for me. I am what like Copy said, am what I am, and I do what I do. He drinks spinach from a can, right? And he's immortal drinking spinach. He's drinking immortal spinach from an immortal can. That's all it is. Huh? And what happens then? The 15 parts, what are those? Those are all all the not the Tad Matras, the tattvas, all the principles on the chart. There's 15 or 19 or 24, depending on what you include or don't include. The 15 parts, you all know that chart. The 15 parts return to their sources. In other words, they're understand to what? Be non-separate from cause and effect teaching. Be non-separate from their source, i.e. awareness. And all the gods return to their corresponding deities. What are those corresponding deities? The five elements, the five senses. The god of the air, the fire, the water, earth, and the space. That's all it means. Actions, and you need to have this backup. Because if you try to read this without getting the backup and studying these texts and here being taught, this isn't going to make any sense. It's just not going to work. So, and thank God you guys are ready to hear it, because this is really, I mean, this is kick-ass stuff. Actions and the self, which is made of actions and the self, which is made of knowledge, become one in the imperishable supreme. As flowing rivers disappear into the ocean, giving up their names and forms, so the wise one, freed from name and form, merges into the universal person, who is higher than the highest. Remember, we had two kinds of knowledge, higher knowledge and lower knowledge. The universal person, Uttama Purushastvanya, Paramatme Tudarataha, Yolo Katrayama Visya, Bibhartya Vyaya Ishwaraha. That's the Ishwara number one. It's beyond the higher knowledge and beyond the lower knowledge, beyond Ishwara and beyond Jiva. Whoever knows that highest Brahman becomes Brahman itself. Well, because you're already Brahman itself. No one who does not know Brahman is born in his family. He or she crosses over sorrow. There's another one you can get a mistake on. You mean my mom knows Brahman? The mom in my mind knows Brahman. That's all. He or she crosses over sin, and sin just means your vasanas. Crosses over means you're not sad and depressed and worried anymore, and you don't violate dharma. You cross over sin. You don't fool around with going against your nature. And freed from the knot of ignorance, that's fair enough, becomes immortal. You are immortal. That's how you become it, because you don't take those things to be real. You default to immortality. That's the default, not your vasana. It's the default. Immortality is your default. Let self-knowledge be taught only to those who perform the rites, who are learned in the scriptures, who are devoted to Brahman, who offer the fire sacrifice with faith, and who have properly performed the head vow. I don't know what the head vow is. I'll look it up. This is the truth that the seer Angiras, remember we had Angiras, how it was passed down to Angiras? This is the truth that the seer Angiras declared in ancient times. One who has not performed the vow should not study it. In other words, if you haven't committed yourself to the sampradaya, to the tradition, and follow the rules, right? You should not study Vedanta. Forget it. And if you're not ready to follow the rules and follow the practices, you're not doing Vedanta. Because as soon as you can have your worship deity, can worship anybody you want, anything you want, but when you step into Vedanta, you lose control of your sadhana. You are handed a sadhana, and then you just follow the rules. They're called the vidis. Vidis means the rules, right? Salutations to the great seers. Salutations to the great seers. That's the end of it. And then it says, actually, they've got this at the end. I like it at the beginning. This they've got it at the end. It should be stuck at the beginning. So we'll put it up at the beginning. Om, O gods. Let's see, what is it? Om Karnebi Yusurnayama Deva. But I'll have Seuss chant it next week. Seuss, I don't know if Seuss is here, but she probably is. She can chant it in the proper Vedic style. And so she says, Om, O gods, may we hear what is good with our ears. Yeah, no, stop watching Landman, James.
Landman is good.
Landman is good. It just, it can fool you.
Yeah.
If you got the wrong eyes on or the wrong ears on, then it can fool you. But if you got your ears on, the right ears on, you'll see how good that is, how beautiful it is. One who has not performed the vows should not study. If you haven't followed the rules, if you haven't done your sadhana, you should not study Vedanta. It's not an academic thing. You can do it. It's not, your privy parts are not going to fall off if you do it, but I mean, or whatever. Sorry. Oh, I'm going to hear it from my Sundari when I see her tomorrow, I suppose. She won't have read it, and don't you guys tell her I said that. Yeah, your lips
Such
are
a vulgar thing.
you're so vulgar. Your lips your lips are sealed.
Yeah.
May we hear what is good with our ears. May we see what is good with our eyes. May we live a full life with strong bodies and limbs, offering praise to you. Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Yeah, when they asked Swami Abhedananda if he wanted to be reborn, he said, yeah, and said, why, Swami? He said, I can chant the name of the Lord. Where can you worship God but right here? Does anybody know any other place? No, because there's no other place where you can chant the name of the Lord. So,
There's a place you're at.
if there's a place you're at, okay. So I want to let's see. I ran over. I get all excited here. Hey, lovely immortals, I see you all. Who's got something to say here about this or not? Or offer something to say.
Hi Ramji, Sus here.
Sue, will you chant that for us next week?
Oh, I can do that now, but I've got a question about a sentence.
Okay, that's about, yeah, or it'll be 2 weeks, but that's okay. 2 weeks is good for me to work up the last part of this. Anyway, go
Oh,
ahead.
it's on the screen. It's 3.29. I don't understand the sentence, no one who does not know Brahman is born in his family.
No
Does
one
that mean
knows.
does that mean
No,
there's
take
no
off the knot. Take off the knot.
okay.
No one who, if a knower is a Brahmin, no one who, anyone in their family means any close people to them will what? Will know what Brahman is. Will know what
Oh,
the self is.
oh,
They'll either experientially they'll know it, or what? Or they'll know it through scripture, or both, or both.
okay, thank you.
Yeah. Good. Yeah, yeah. So, well, you can chant it properly. It's so
Would you like
beautiful. But,
would you like me to chant it now?
yeah, chant it now.
Okay, okay. ॐ भद्रं कर्णेभिः शृणुयाम देवाः भद्रं पश्येमाक्षभिर्यजत्राः स्थिरैरङ्गैस्तुष्टुवागुंसस्तनूभिः पश्येम देवहितं यदायुः स्वस्ति न इन्द्रो वृत्तश्रवाः स्वस्ति नः पूषा विश्ववेदाः स्वस्ति नस्तार्क्ष्यो अरिष्टनेमिः स्वस्ति नो बृहस्पतिर्दधातु ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः
Yeah.
It's powerful.
Yeah, those are the swaras. Swaras are the accents. You have to know how to hit the right accent. It's all designed to produce shanti. Good for you. Thank you, Suze. You're super here. You learn it. How did you get it so good? There, you can find the Vedic chanting a lot of it on the internet, on the YouTube. There's great stuff on there. It'll blow your mind. Some of it. Can you recommend any particular YouTube videos where they got a big group of Brahmins chanting or something?
Yeah, I can look it up and send it to you, but you do have to get feedback because, or you have to be very musical with your ear by nature, but
Yeah,
it's quite difficult to get everything correct.
it is really.
It's a whole science,
Well,
and basically you need a teacher. That's how I learned it anyway.
That's right.
I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Michael Danzig and Lois have their hands up.
Okay, Michael, what's up?
A question is up about the bliss. It said some chapters above that we can experience bliss when we are based in the self. I forgot the correct verse, but that doesn't correspond to my experience. When I compare my bliss that I get from being in the self with deep sleep, then it's less. So where's the mistake, or what's not
Well,
working?
okay, all right. There's three levels of bliss. There's experience. There's two kinds of bliss. There's the bliss of awareness, which is produced by self-knowledge. That's called Jnanananda. And there's Vishayananda, or the bliss of reflected awareness on objects, on the senses, for instance. And that has three layers or three levels: Priya, Moda, and Pramoda. Priya's the bliss you get when you think of a good thought, a happy thought. In my case, lately I've been thinking about a Reuben sandwich. Now there's no Reuben sandwiches in our house, right?
Not yet.
No, but I think about when I think about a Reuben sandwich, I feel good. And sometimes we even take a drive over to a place called The Shed, which has a super Reuben with nice, oh, man, it's really nice. And just, pig out. Now, when we get into the Shed's parking lot's always full because they have all big menu. I feel a more intense bliss. Why? Because I'm closer to the object of my desire. Right? Oh, wow. Hey, this desire is going to manifest. We're right here, and I've got a cane, I can still walk up those stairs. Right? I can still stumble up the stairs. Maybe Dave will help me go up the stairs, or whatever it is. I can sit on the stool there or take a table, and I can look at the menu, and oh my God, and I see other people around enjoying their meals, and I'm thinking, oh man, I feel a lot happier than just thinking about it. I feel like this wish is gonna come true. You know, like when you meet a person that you fall for them, they're attractive to you. And and it's all nice, it's lovely, it feels good. But when they say my place or yours, wow, the bliss is amped up that much more, isn't it? Oh, hey, something's gonna happen. I'll go home with you, you know. And then when you hit the sack and all that stuff takes place, then what? That's called pramoda. That's intense bliss. And that kind of intense bliss, food's not as intense as sex, unless it is. And
Well, ice cream.
ice cream. Yeah, we have somebody in here that likes ice cream. That would be me. And Dave too. Sarah, not so much. Or maybe you do. Yeah, okay. Everybody in this house likes ice cream. So when your mind and your senses are enjoying or engaged with the object, then the bliss is most intense. But that bliss, then it dissipates, right? But the bliss of awareness is constant. It's steady, and it's only gained by knowledge because it's always there. So even though it's not intense like this, the mind won't even fluctuate when you know your awareness, really. It's the bliss of awareness, in other words, the knowledge is so great that it just equilibrates the mind on its own, and the mind doesn't go way high or way low. I mean, if somebody, there's lots of boats here, right? And I see all these really cool boats, and I'd really like to have a boat and trip around the Long Island Sound, or have somebody sail it over to the Mediterranean, and so, but it's not going to change me, I tell you, one way or the other. So that, because the bliss I'm experiencing is just steady all the time. Now that's not exciting. That's just wow. That's just really nice. You know, it's really nice being me and not ever thinking that I need to do anything, that I could do anything to get a better kind of bliss. So we've got these three kinds. We got a bliss of awareness, which is brought by knowledge, and we got Priyamoda and Pramoda, which are what? Experiential, subject and object bliss. So that's the issue. Did that help?
A little, but there's still a question remaining. What exactly is then going on in deep sleep, where there's much bliss?
Excuse me?
In deep sleep,
What?
there is much bliss, high
Where?
bliss.
Deep sleep.
In deep sleep?
Yes.
Are you aware of that when you're in deep sleep?
Yes, more or less.
No, you're only
More
aware
or
of it
less.
when you wake up because you're not there in deep sleep to be aware of it. Then why don't you just go to sleep all the time?
Because I wake up later.
That's right. So you can forget about the bliss of deep sleep. Huh? That's reflected awareness, and that's right. You're right. But that's not intense bliss, is it? It's just I slept well.
Well, it feels more intense to me than what I experience when I'm awake and trying to reflect the self.
Now say that again, please.
When I'm awake and I'm trying to reflect the self, then it feels less blissful than when I'm in deep sleep.
Well-
that's the problem. He's trying to reflect the self.
Yeah, you're trying to reflect the self. No, that doesn't work
So,
because you are the reflected self. You can't experience what you are because you are. See, you're thinking you're not experiencing the reflected awareness, but if you're talking to me and listening to this satsang here, you are the reflected awareness. And if so, why do you keep coming back? Because you're getting bliss from being aware, and you're getting bliss from this knowledge. You're hooked on you're hooked on Vedanta now, aren't you?
Yes.
Yeah. Why?
Well, it's true what you said. There is bliss in it, but
Yeah.
it's just very little.
Well, there's very little. Okay, well, what can I say that will give you more bliss?
I don't know.
Oh, okay, okay, okay. I'm telling you that you're okay. You don't need anything in life. That's Vedanta. Now, can you tell me? Can you think of a better thing to say for me to say to you?
No, nothing comes to my mind.
No, because there isn't anything better than that. I tell you, you're perfectly satisfied with yourself as you are at any moment, and the world as it is at any moment. Can you beat that?
No.
No, you can't beat it. So that's pretty good. No, there's some part of you that feeling incomplete. Is that right?
Yes, especially when someone mentions Ananda or bliss.
Okay, well then, and that's because you're not blissful, right?
Usually, I'm not. Yes.
But sometimes you are.
Yes.
Okay, now what's the difference between the times when you are and the times when you aren't?
Um, I don't know what you mean. Maybe I'm doing something that I like very much.
Yeah,
Hmm.
of course, you're absorbed in something. You've shot your arrow into the bow. You've found something that's interesting. You're embedded or absorbed in the target. The target here is Vedanta. And what? And you're getting bliss from it. You're concentrated on it. You're coming back. You keep coming back now. I know you're hooked. You know, have you ever heard anything better than what we're saying here?
Actually, I think no. I think what you're teaching is the most important thing there is to know.
Good for you.
Yeah.
Good for you. Absolutely is. So that means you've understood what we're talking about here. Good for you. So what about what I know you may not want to share this in an open satsang, but what in your life is missing? Let's just leave the Vedanta out of it. But what going on in your life that you don't like?
There's no specific thing that I could point my finger on. I have no
Yes.
clear wish
No.
for something
Oh,
to disappear
okay.
or for
Well,
anything else to come.
That's good.
huh?
There's no specific thing.
Well, that's great. Then where do you think this question is coming from about bliss?
Just that what I expect bliss to mean is something different than what I experience. So
There you go.
there's some mismatch.
Yeah, Why do you believe what your mind is telling you?
Well, the word must have a meaning, doesn't it?
Well, we're telling you, giving you a thought that tells you the world has a meaning. Because knowing what the world is, you know, means that what? That you're the awareness. Means that you're not the world. In other words, your life should point to the fact that you're Aware. You're aware of your life, and there's nothing really that's bothering you in your life except this thought that you have an expectation uh, that things should be more, better, or different. But that very thought is an object known to you. Now, this goes back to that original teaching, which is the most difficult teaching. I am not what I see. You understand that?
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh boy. Time to go.
Huh?
Someone else said that.
Someone else, yeah. Someone else said that. Okay. I am not what I see. Now that sounds, does that sound profound?
Yes.
It is profound because what? Because what I'm seeing now is that I'm not satisfied. Of course, if you're seen not satisfied, you're not going to be satisfied. But if you see the seer, that's what he's talking about here. You see the witness or the one that knows you're not satisfied, then you'll find yourself to be satisfied. That one that's observing things is perfectly satisfied. And its failure to identify myself as that awareful entity that's causing the sense of incompleteness or inadequacy that you feel, that you do believe is real. That awareness is the real thing, and your sense of inadequacy is not the real thing. It's an existent thing, but it's not the real thing because it comes and goes, as you yourself have pointed out. We call this discrimination driksha viveka, and it means the discrimination between the seer and what is seen. Just knowing the difference. If you know the difference between what you see and the one that's seeing it, you're not going to be confused. You're not going to confuse yourself with what you see. In other words, with this thought, I'm inadequate and incomplete and so forth and so on, with your expectations. You're not confused by that. Say, well, that's just an expectation that I observe. It's not me. It's sometimes present and sometimes not present. It can't be real. And you just ignore it.
Okay. Thank you for the answer.
Pardon?
He said
Thank you for the answer.
Yeah, that's Vedanta. It's straightforward. It's pretty, but it's real easy to miss that. I understand. I'm not saying it isn't hard. Okay, Moise, you had a question. Is that right?
Moise, you're up.
Yeah, sorry. Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you. Yeah.
Okay, awesome. I hope you are doing well, Ramji. It's lovely seeing to you this week. And my question is related to the topic. Like you mentioned in your talk about Jivatma and Paramatma. And please
Yeah.
correct me if I'm wrong in my understanding. So I understand like these two are the same things, but only Vedanta uses two different like terminologies, Jivatma and Paramatma. So
Yeah.
what exactly there is? Yes, please.
Well, say what exactly let's say repeat that again.
What exactly is what, Moise?
What is it? What is Jivatman
So
and what is Paramatman?
so they are same witnessing consciousness, right? This is my understanding. They are the
Yeah.
same one one witnessing
Yeah,
consciousness.
Jivatman and Paramatman are what? Are Atman.
Yes. So why there are like two different name for one same entity? Like, what's the
Be-
purpose of?
because one of them you're looking at through an individual lens, and the other you're looking at through the big picture lens. So the
Right.
para is everything, and the jiva is just a small one. But
Right.
what's the non what's the essential factor? Atman.
Right.
Both the individual and the total are what? Are awareness. This is why that verse down at the bottom said, then you see, then once you realize your awareness, then what? You see that everything else is awareness. You realize that I'm not separate from the total. We call that Jiva Ishwara Aikyam. That means the identity between the Jivatman and the Paramatman. And you can use
Right.
it. You can use. They use the yoga terminologies. Is what is it? Jesus. Purusha Prakriti. That's a common one. Purusha means awareness, and Prakriti means matter. Matter means the Shakti, what's changing and moving, and Purusha means awareness that doesn't change or move. Purusha is what? Unborn and eternal and immortal, and Prakriti is eternal, but it's not, but it's not awareness because it changes forms. Sometimes it's potential and sometimes it's actual. So there's a difference there, slight difference. So and everybody, like in the Father and the Son and the Holy Ghost. Now, in the Christianity, you're not a Christian, so
Right.
you might not be familiar with that, but they have the same understanding. They just use different metaphors or different words to describe it.
Perfect. So that means it's just a perspective of where, from which perspective we are looking. If we are looking
Correct.
from total perspective,
Yeah,
it's
if you're looking
Paramatma.
from the total, it's param. If you're
Yeah.
looking from the individual point, it's what? It's jiva.
Right. Perfect.
There's
Thank you so
there's
much.
only one there's only one jiva. Yeah, you're welcome. There's only one jiva. So yeah, we think
Explain
there's a
this.
lot of jivas, but there's only one jiva. There's another little twist to this teaching, which is the non-eternal jiva, and that would be moist Khan, which doesn't really mean anything. Those words really don't mean anything. If you say I'm Moise Khan, I still have no idea who you are. You have to, and then you'll fill the blanks in with me is a bunch of stuff. I'm from Pakistan. I do this, I do that. I have a wife and the kids. My mother this, huh?
Yeah.
You guys have a lot of details about
Right.
those words, but those details won't make me any closer to understanding who you are or what you really are. So like that.
Right. So we can say that there is one eternal jiva and many reflections of that eternal jiva. Muiz Khan and other the peoples who are
Did you get that, Dee?
No, they blanked out.
Yeah, we had a transmission problem. It broke up there.
okay. So there is one eternal jiva, and it
Yeah.
has many reflections. One is Muiz Khan,
Yeah,
other
that's
is
right.
other. Perfect.
Yeah.
Perfect. Thank you.
Okay, you bet. It's like electricity. There's one electricity, but
Right.
functioning through a light bulb, it gives light. Functioning through a heater, it gives heat. Functioning through a fan, it blows the air. Functioning through a hair dryer, it dries your hair. Whatever it is, right? But all electricity is the same in all those, but the manifestation of the electricity is changed when it passes through the instrument. Like, when awareness comes through Ram, you get Ram. When it comes through Moish, you get Moish. When it comes through whoever, you get whoever it is. Right?
Right, right, right. Perfect. Thank you so much. Thank you so much,
You
Ramji.
bet, voice. Good. I'm so glad you're hanging in there, staying in here. That's the key. Just stick with us and keep listening.
Yeah, because other things doesn't make sense, right? So full
Yeah,
of
no,
sense.
that's right.
Same old stuff. It's like talking about cars, girls, business. That's it. It's just
Yeah, and
probably
if it does make sense, then I saw this T-shirt and it said, "Stop making sense." And you could see, because in the samsara, nothing makes sense except Vedanta.
right,
I've got a
right,
T-shirt that says Vedanta rocks, and it's so Siva, huh? Siva's boogieing. Ishwara rocks.
right.
It's the only thing
Thank
that
you so
makes
much.
sense here. You bet.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Thank you. I'm really glad I find the shining world and you. So I'm really glad. Uh, Thankful to God. Like that's
Well,
after like
Shining World's glad that it found you.
perfect. Thank you. Thank you so much.
You bet. Okay. Unless there's any other pressing issues,
Lots
uh,
of thank yous were said.
let's call it quits. We're getting ready for the Divine Miss Sundari is coming tomorrow, and we have a seminar on Thursday morning. And so we're getting all that ducks in line for that. And we'll see you again in 2 weeks. By the grace of God. Take it easy and God bless you all.
Yes. Thank you.
You're welcome. So I should turn that. Well, I got,
Recording stuff.
well, I don't know where it went.
Oh, or just close the meeting.
Okay, where do I go? I go here. Oh, there we go.
Yeah.
Here, just a second. Pause recording. No. This
You
is
can just exit down the exit.
exit. Oh, this one. Yeah,
Yeah,
okay.
That'll kill everything. Sure.
It just won't.
Yeah, end recording.